Leave.
Madison spoke the words in a loud, clear, commanding tone. She left no room for interpretation. Brian didn't know if she meant him, Uriel, or both. He took a step toward her, but she only repeated her words.
Now the two of you, I want to be alone.
He didn't think being by herself was the best way to handle the bombshell dropped in her lap. He wanted to stay, but accepted her choice of solitude.
Allow me to explain.
Uriel began.
Later, right now, I need you anywhere else. I'm sorry, I cannot deal with this now. I don't even want to. You stand there appearing 40 years younger and announce not only are you an angel but my father to boot. I'm not able to process this with you standing in this kitchen. I expect you both gone if you ever want to continue this conversation.
Brian heard the anger, and the pain threaded through the steel timbers of her voice, and had no choice except to get Uriel out of the house before he permanently damaged any future relationship he had with his daughter. The elder angel opened his mouth to speak again, but Brian stepped forward and moved into Uriel's line of vision. He spoke to him as angels always talk to one another. "This is not the time," Brian said telepathically. The words drifted silently from within his mind.
Mind your own business.
Uriel's response roared through his mind. "Give her the space she needs." Brian tried again.
Do not presume to tell me how to deal with my own daughter.
Uriel's eyes flashed. "Yes, since you are doing so well, forget I said anything." Brian turned back toward Madison, once more laid his hand atop hers which rested on the counter. He smiled because she didn't pull hers away. "Should you need me, for any reason, all you have to do is call for me." Though it bothered him to leave her, her expression spoke of her need for space.
Thank you.
She whispered. When her eyes rose toward his, a cold fury burst in his gut at the tears visible in hers. Her pain affected him like nothing had ever done before. He wanted to fix all her problems, to slay dragons for her, or to wrestle alligators with his bare hands for her. He had to do something. "I refuse to walk away like this. Allow me to call a friend to stay with you."
My cousin Kennedy. Her telephone number is in the phone.
He hadn't expected her to give up the thought of being alone so easily. If God kept smoothing out the wrinkles of his life, Brian couldn't help but wonder what was going on. Madison slid her small silver cellular to him. He opened it and scrolled down until he found Kennedy's name. It struck him as odd Madison had only 5 telephone numbers in her cell. He called Kennedy from his own phone and hoped she would answer a number she didn't recognize.
I'm sleeping. Someone had better be dead or damn close.
A cranky voice barked. "Is this Kennedy, Madison's cousin?"
Maddie, is she all right?
The irritability evaporated in an instant. "She had a trying day, and I don't think she should be alone, and I'm afraid she doesn't know me well enough to want to be in my company."
I'll be over in 15 minutes. Tell her to put on coffee and not that decaf shit she drinks.
Without another word, the call ended, and Brian closed the cell phone. He slid the small silver device back to her. "Kennedy will be here soon and has requested coffee, but not the decaf kind you drink." The corners of Madison's mouth lifted in a half-smile, and he took that as a reward that matched a treasure chest of gold. "I'm going to get your car towed to a garage. Do you have a preference?"
Andrew will.
Just like that, the smile disappeared, and he wanted to kick himself.
What happened?
Uriel asked. "Come with me, I'll explain." Brian said. "I will be outside until Kennedy arrives, Madison, to give you space, but I won't leave you alone."
Don't worry, I am not going to have a nervous breakdown over this.
She said with a flash of annoyance.
He knows which garage we use.
The venom in her tone toward Uriel surprised Brian. She refused to look at the ancient angel. The unanswered questions lingered in her eyes. She didn't seem to understand why he chose to act as an old man who helped her out around the house, but the heated, searing look she cast at Uriel seemed to go far beyond that. To his credit, Uriel made no attempt to speak to her again. His shoulders slumped down and his head hung lower. With a sigh, he walked out of the kitchen and Brian followed behind him. He didn't know how to help to the other man. Brian tried to think of how he would be if he told his child he was her parent and she kicked him out. He'd want to hit something. Hard. He figured there couldn't be too much difference between the two of them. "Uriel," Brian said, and stopped him as they reached the front entrance of the estate after Madison's cousin had arrived.
What?
Uriel snapped. More alike than Brian thought. "Let's go find someone in need of life lessons." In training, angels were taught to walk softly and listen to those around them. This often opened their minds to many unsavory characters intent on harming others. Forced teaching had been Brian's favorite part. To protect his ward had been his calling, but he'd been born a warrior and would always answer the call to prevent innocents from harm. Uriel cocked his head to one side and appeared to be trying to figure something out before he answered.
Perhaps another plan if you'd be interested.
It was his turn to gauge the other man and try to guess what he was up to. "Lo,
You handled yourself well in there. She isn't even your ward, yet you refuse to leave her unprotected.
another would have done the same."
The others do not carry the stigma of fallen.
With those words, his mood went from moderately alive to a crushing reminder of why he was on Earth. No matter what had happened today, he'd always be the enemy, a betrayer of his own kind, a failure. Even on Earth with the humans, his soul bore the marking like a scarlet letter. There would be no escaping his decision. Brian may as well have been cast in the bowels of hell. At least within the flames, he wouldn't build up hope of a life only to be crushed by those around him. "Indeed," he replied. No longer interested in the company of the other angel, Brian moved past him and walked out the front door. The vision he saw as he stepped outside couldn't have stunned him more. In every species, legends are born, and perhaps some of the most recognizable were the archangels. Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael, the messengers of God, stood in their full glory, showered in the light of the heavens.
Brothers,
Uriel exclaimed. In the history of mankind, each angel made rare visits to the humans. Having all three on Earth could only mean something of great importance was underway. Though everyone called him a betrayer, he still showed the respect due. He bowed deeply, with his gaze cast to the ground.
"Rise, Brian, for we've come for you."
His head snapped up and he stared at Gabriel, who spoke. The first thought which raced through his mind was God had saved him from Uriel's sword only to deliver him in the hands of his heroes.
"It is time."
Michael said, his voice devoid of any emotion Brian could discern from. He didn't have to explain further. Somehow, he went from fallen angel cast to earth to rogue angel hunted by the messengers of God. Apparently, God had no sense of humor.